something about on the legal front. There are now conversations about the Biden administration and whether or not they are going to defend religious freedom or religious rights of Americans, of things like Christian universities, those kinds of things, as that now intersects with trying to find a balance with non-discrimination and respecting LGBTQ Americans as well. The New Republic writing this says, in an administration defined in part by fruitless efforts at compromise, figuring out where Biden stands on religious exemptions and LGBTQ rights is critical right now. What does it mean to compromise with religious groups who assert their, quote, right to discriminate? That author sounds like there isn't a compromise to be had.
Well, look, you can know where the Biden administration is by what they did just a few days ago. Instead of saying they would vigorously defend the religious exemption for Christian colleges like they had said a few weeks ago, they deleted the word vigorously. The fact is they're not going to defend the religious exemption. That was clear on day one of the Biden administration when he signed the radical executive order on transgenderism. It's clear in the Equality Act there is no real provision for religious exemption. And Shannon, people need to go back to 2011 during the Obama-Biden administration. It was that administration that went to the Supreme Court arguing against religious liberty for a Christian school, Hosanna Tabor Lutheran School. When it comes to his progressive agenda, Joe Biden is willing to bulldoze over the rights, the religious rights of Americans. That should concern all people of faith.
Yeah, and I remember covering that case you mentioned. It was a 9-0 decision. It was not close.
Yes.
We're awaiting now another decision from the Supreme Court trying to balance those rights as well as we look at, Catholic adoption and fostering agencies in Philadelphia and anti-discrimination statutes there involving same-sex couples. So we wait on that. Quickly, though, any comment now as the Catholic denomination, which, I know is not what you represent, but they're now having this conversation about whether or not priests should deny sacraments to pro-choice political figures.
Yeah, congratulations to Bill Donahue and the Catholic League for calling out Joe Biden. He's the most pro-abortion president in history. He's cramming the transgender agenda down people's throats, denying that God's the one who creates us as male or female, and he's obliterating Christian liberty. And look, people say, well, he goes to church. I remind people, sitting in a church doesn't make you a Christian any more than sitting in McDonald's makes you a hamburger. Jesus said, by your fruit you shall know them. And the fruit of Joe Biden's so-called faith is pretty rotten at first glance.
Well, that is something Catholic leaders now will have to grapple with in these days of discussions. Pastor Jeffress, thank you for joining us tonight.
Great to be with you, Shannon.
And some good news before we say goodnight.